What up, y'all? I had to stop and make this video, y'all, because this thing with the New Year's Eve thing down in New Orleans, man. I've been keeping up with this story, man. And me being ex-military, you know what I'm saying? 13 Fox, fire support, Fort Sill, Oklahoma Army. It's a lot of stuff ain't adding up, y'all. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. I am a critical thinker. And there's a lot of stuff about this story that ain't adding up. And I'm gonna give y'all what I feel like. And listen, the only reason I'm giving y'all this is because I feel like as ex-military, we gotta also look at it for this service member, man. This guy was in the military for about 13 years, man. And then they're tying him to ISIS. So on that note, I think we owe it to him to try to find some other perspective. And I'm gonna just tell y'all what I feel like so far, because it's some stuff that's on the news that ain't adding up. Anytime y'all see the news start pulling up a guy's credit history as a reason for him snapping, that sounds like a spin job to me. Y'all understand? 20,000 in debt, 30,000 in debt. Listen, almost every United States citizen has debt nowadays. That's not gonna be enough to make somebody snap and go off the loose end. It ain't making no sense. On top of that, they said this guy was looking for as many casualties as possible, right? They said he wanted to inflict as much damage as possible. If that's the case, why didn't he wait until the Super Bowl? It's not adding up. They said this guy wants to inflict as much damage as possible. He drove from Texas. My home state is Austin, Texas. I don't know if y'all realize this, but New Year's Eve, Texas is a much larger crowd than New Year's Eve, Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Do y'all understand what I'm telling y'all? So if they're saying he's looking for mass casualties, in a situation where he's looking for mass casualties, why would you go drive all the way from Texas to New Orleans when you were in Texas, which has a much larger crowd? And then I look at this thing where the blocks weren't finished getting installed, two specifically. How would he know that? So I get to digging around and I'm thinking, man, y'all, excuse me, because I'm a critical thinker. And when I hear something off, it's off. You know what I'm saying? And when I looked at the news report, I seen this AI generated photo. This is a guy with no arrest history or anything like that, but he got an AI generated mugshot now circulating on the news. So that brings me to the question. Remember, this guy was intel, right? You understand? He worked at IT, HR, etc. He was pretty good at intel. That was his job. Me, I'm 13 Fox, 4 observers. You understand? Snipers, whatever y'all want to call it. Listen. Check this out, y'all. The stuff. And then they say he was his first marriage. That's what they keep saying. He was first married and he got divorced. So if they're saying his first marriage, you know what that tells me? That means he got remarried. Why would you be saying first marriage if there isn't a second marriage? You understand? So if this man was remarried, then why would he be snapping years later about his first marriage? That ain't enough to make up for what they saying. Jump out, mass casualty situation, trying to wipe out everybody. I'm gonna give y'all, listen, this is hypothetical. This is hypothetical, and I'm just doing this because the guy's military, ex-military. I think we owe it to him to at least throw some stuff out there. You understand? Listen, what if this so-called terrorist guy here, right? What if he came across a false flag operation, right? What if he came across a false flag operation that our government was getting ready to do? You understand? What if he came across this? What if he made his superiors aware of this false flag attack, right? Remember, this is a patriot. What would a normal patriot do if you became aware of a false flag attack and you realize the ones above you were not going to do anything? You go try to stop it yourself, right? Wouldn't you? If you are a patriot, not normal people. If you are a patriot and you are aware that a bunch of American citizens were about to be taken away to some type of attack, and the ones above you weren't doing anything, right? That would explain why you drove from Texas all the way to New Orleans. See what I'm saying? From Texas all the way to New Orleans. Now, they found explosive devices that were planted, and they say multiple people were planting the devices. So that makes me wonder, okay, if he drove from Texas to New Orleans, remember, this is military personnel. You mean to tell me with all this expertise and all this planning, the biggest plan he could come up with for a massacre was to plow a car into a crowded group of New Year's Eve people? Are y'all telling me that's the best he could have came up with? It's not adding up, because that sounds like the plan of somebody who's like an amateur. You see what I'm saying? In military terms, if y'all get where I'm going. But it's not adding up. Me personally, I believe this guy may have came across a false flag attack. He saw nothing was getting done, and he decided to go on his own and stop said false flag attack. Because remember, if there are explosive devices, why didn't they go off? They can give all the spins they want, but it don't sound right. They think the American people just buy whatever story they put on the news. If the explosives didn't go off, so that makes me wonder, wait, maybe his goal in the first place was to stop the explosives from going off, was to stop the terror false flag attack. Get what I'm saying? He showed up there. Whatever happened to him in the car before he crashed happened. But his main purpose was to stop whoever from exploding these devices. That's what it feels like to me. And I feel like since he stopped those devices from going off, the powers that be said, we're just gonna paint him as the terrorist. The guy pretty much went out there and sacrificed himself for his country because he didn't want people to get blowed up with some intel that he knew about. There was no time left, so maybe he went out to try and stop it on his own. And this whole thing y'all see with them sealing off stuff, trying to check maybe they're trying to cover tracks. Maybe they're trying to get rid of whatever he found. Because as an explosives expert, him detonating the explosives would have been the simple thing to do, right? If he showed up, crashed out, then pulled out a weapon, opened fire, he knew before that moment at some point that his end was near. Why wouldn't he set off the explosives? So, was he actually the one who was trying to carry out the plot? Or was he the one that actually stopped it from happening? So to save face, they're gonna just pin it all on him. I just saw a video where the police officers in that area are going through checking the trash cans for explosive devices with flashlights. They're checking the trash bins with flashlights for explosive devices in some areas. Once again, y'all, if he was a mass terrorist, right, why wouldn't he wait till the Super Bowl? Why would he be driving in the opposite direction of where the gangs are? Or was he headed somewhere to stop an attack that he knew of? Makes more sense to me, especially when they say there's a video recording of him claiming to be part of ISIS. Listen, y'all, AI has some cool tricks it can do. When they call your phone, you hear that phone beep and no one says nothing, it takes AI 3 seconds to mimic your voice completely. Y'all understand? So when you get that beep on your phone, don't respond to it. Don't keep talking because it's learning you. So I'm telling y'all, be careful. Don't believe everything that come on the news because some ain't adding up. I believe this guy might have been stopping the attack, which is why the explosives didn't go off. Tell me what y'all think. It's all hypothetical.